Have you ever looked at the big screen, heart pounding, and wondered if the terrifying events unfolding were more than just fiction? I didn't, because movies are safe places, and they're not real, right? While many horror films are born from the fertile minds of screenwriters, a chilling subset draws inspiration from the darkest corners of our world. These are the paranormal movies that dare to delve into the shadows of documented actual hauntings, eerie occurrences, and unexplained phenomenons. My name is Selena Myers. This is The Haunted Estate, and let's get into it!
Let's go.
I'm in a weird mood today.
I like it.
Yeah?
Run with it.
Do you want a kiss?
Okay.
Okay.
Not coming over there.
Okay.
I'm trapped.
Fine. Speak the words, devil man. Hit go.
Okay.
Number one that we all know so well is the Amityville Horror. Thanks in great part to its dark mix of real murder and supernatural mythology, the story of the Amityville Horror has enthralled readers for literal decades. But at the center of this terrifying story is honestly a terrible reality. Ronald Joseph DeFeo Jr.'s. Thank you. November 13th, 1974's mass murder. DeFeo Jr., age 23, shot his parents and 4 younger siblings, Don 18, Allison 13, Mark 12, and John 9, while they slept in their beds. The horrific deed broke the family's home's quiet facade in the dead of the night.
Dude.
Get any pizza with any toppings for just $9.99 online. Try the Domino's viral pizza or invent a new one.
Can you imagine you go to bed, you get your little cuppa, you get your cup of tea, you get in your covers, you pull your blanket over, you're like, I'm gonna have a good sleep. And then it's a forever sleep?
Yeah, that's not cool.
No, not cool, not fun, not great.
And then, like, the saddest thing is, like, someone died first and now everybody else is experiencing
My parents are calling, hold on.
Oh.
Hi, you are on speakerphone because we are recording a YouTube video. Hi. Well, what's up?
Well, I'm taking Maisie for 2 o'clock. You sound like you're going to be busy, right?
We are deep in recording these videos, but I appreciate the invite. I apologize. You'll do great.
All right, everything's cool then?
Yep, talk to you later.
Okay, love you, bye.
Love you, bye. My parents' family dog has cherry eye. Another horror story in its own.
Yeah, not quite as horrific as this.
After DeFeo Jr. went to a nearby tavern in a panic, saying, "You need to aid me. I believe my parents are shot." Under police investigation, his first attempt to attribute culpability to a mob hit swiftly fell apart, particularly in light of the claimed solid alibi. DeFeo Jr. finally admitted to the murders under increasing pressure and overwhelming proof, outlining his attempts to cover up. He was found guilty and sentenced to 6 consecutive 25-year terms, even though he claimed mental insanity. DeFeo Jr. died in 2021 after spending the remainder of his days behind bars.
Just recently he passed away.
I thought he was still alive.
Wow.
I thought that would have made more headlines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh! I want to save all of you guys time and money. So let's say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that's going to help you lower your bills, help you with your budgeting, have a monthly subscription. Never going to go there again. I did some research and I found Rocket Money. They took some of my personal info weekend getaway for you from internet category. Rocket Money while using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/SelenaSpookyBoo or click the link in the description below to get started for free. Thanks so much, Rocket Money. Their once bustling house appeared vacant, with the whole DeFeo's family gone. It soon entered the market, its horrific past driving a far lower price. George and Kathleen Lutz paid $80,000 for the beautiful home in December 1975. Pretty the deal for a house this size and in the location. Eager to begin a fresh chapter, the Lutz family, which included Kathleen and her 3 children from a past marriage, moved in right before Christmas. George, maybe concerned about the sinister past of the mansion, asked Father Ralph J., a Catholic priest, to bless it. The Father Ralph did bless it, but the Lutz later stories suggest that the encounter was anything but ordinary. The priest urged the family to get out, warning them in a terrifying phone conversation on Christmas Eve about the voice he had heard during the blessing. He also cautioned them not to enter the second-floor bedroom where the DeFeo parents had met their deaths. The Lutz family claimed from that point on an avalanche of horrific incidents so severe that they left the house in terror January 14th, 1976. They left the movers to get their items and virtually immediately put the house back on the market. They never returned. James and Barbara Cromartie.
Cromartie.
There you go. Who lived for 10 years without noticing any paranormal activity, bought the house shortly afterward. But the Amityville Horrors myth had already evolved into a life unto itself. Published in September 1977, Jay Anson's book, The Amityville Horror, sensationalized the Lutz experiences and made the house a cultural phenomenon. Director Stuart Rosenberg's film adaptation opened in theaters a year later, therefore confirming the relevance of the story in horror history. But the popularity of the book also spurred great mistrust. By 1979, differences in the Lutz account were starting to show, including whether Father Ralph's blessing had truly even happened. Many of the book's assertions, like the existence of a greenish-black slime and a secret red room, which they claimed was only a small closet, were discounted by the next occupants. The Cromarties. Additional research disproved some of the most dramatic aspects of the narrative, including alleged cloven hoof tracks in the snow, marks absent since the times lacked snow, a court dispute over the rights to the story, in which Ronald DeFeo's defense attorney, William Weber, acknowledged that much of the haunting was created by him and the Lutz family. They dealt with the major of the damage to the credibility of the narrative. Notwithstanding these discoveries, the Lutz family and their offspring stuck to their interpretation of the events, even as a lot of the publications and films surfaced, either supporting or refuting their assertions. Why do I want to say assertions so bad? Either supporting or refuting their assertions. The Amityville horror movies are more appreciated today for their entertainment value than for any other reason. Although the films do explore the true crime roots, the horrific DeFeo murders, most of the supernatural components are pure fiction, progressively disconnected from honestly any factual basis. One indisputable fact about this story is that the Amityville house has passed hands several times since the Lutz family escaped. Most lately, it was sold in 2010 and once more in 2016. I did see it for sale last year, though, also.
You want to buy it?
I did. It was only like 1.5 million, which seems like a lot, but like not a lot, maybe.
But like, I think everybody on that street is like super like.
They have a thing that I don't know if there's an HOA there or what, but if you move there, you literally can't do anything paranormal with that house.
Yeah.
Like they've legally bound it because the neighbors hated it. Like the community just wants to put that all to sleep, which I completely agree with.
Absolutely.
Yep. Still, none of the next owners have claimed any hauntings, belongings, or anything else unusual throughout all these years. The reputation might endure, but the actuality of the Amityville mansion is far less evil than the legends that they may have you believe.
There's got to be some crazy mental illness going on to kill your whole family.
Well, you know that. There's a crazy mental illness, and I think with the Amityville house, I believe in residual hauntings. I believe in energy. You know, that family, the kids of the Lutz family have said over the years that a lot of it was made up. But hey, maybe a couple things happened because what happened previously? Crazy murder. There's going to be some energy, but maybe the energy over the years has just dissipated.
And like with the DeFeos, like what happened to that man to make him do that?
To kill
I'm not
some
saying
family.
it was the house necessarily, just
He
like,
was doing a lot of drugs and drinking.
Yeah, was that what it was?
And I think that really awakens up beasts inside of you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it throws your whole mental clarity off.
Well, I've had friends who were drug addicts, and then I see them clean. I'm like, nah, that's a different person.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Get clean. We believe in you.
Yes.
Next up, we have number 2, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. A great movie, I do suggest. It is a true story horror movies that really honestly do disturb me the most, since they do blur the boundaries between fiction and the truth. Unlike largely fictional stories, where you can leave the anxiety behind as the credits roll, a story based on real events suggests that the horror scene can honestly happen to anybody, including you. This particularly true movie claims to be inspired by true events, because even if the picture strays from reality, there's always a basic truth hiding inside. Combining the supernatural with judicial drama, The Exorcism of Emily Rose belongs in this genre as it generates a story that is both horrific and provocative. The story... Provocative! Remember that song?
You
provocateur. It's like, do you know the song I'm talking about? Where it's like, it's a guy talking in the beginning, and then it goes, it's provocative!
No.
Okay, maybe Becca will find it.
Becca, hook us up.
The movie revolves around Father Richard Moore's prosecution for negligent homicide following an exorcism on Emily Rose, a college girl who died under his care. Although the pictures received mixed reviews, Jennifer Carpenter's performance of Emily was highly appreciated, especially for her physical contortions that almost brought the film to an R rating. The actual narrative behind the movie, though, is even more horrific and unsettling. The real-life Emily Rose was Annalise Michael, a young woman whose sad life and death is anything from typical. We should watch this, Adam. You'd be interested.
Contortions?
Like,
Contortions always get me. They're creepy.
dude, it's terrifying.
Like The Exorcism, like that. Even though it's so old, they did so good with that movie.
They did. Born in 1952 in a little Bavarian hamlet called Klingenberg, Annalise Michael, her family, was devout. Her father, Joseph, had previously thought about being a priest, and several nuns belonged to the extended family. A great sense of guilt and a need for atonement help explain this devotion in some measure. Before marrying Joseph, Annalise's mother, Anna, had produced an illegitimate daughter called Martha, which was seen as a serious sin in their society. Anna thus developed a fixation with atonement and enforced rigorous religious policies on her household. Annalise was urged from an early age to be religious, attending Mass twice a week and spending much of her time praying rather than playing with other kids. We're setting up here, man. Annalise felt more pressure to be devout when her sister Martha passed away at the age of 8. As a kind of penance, she was even compelled to sleep on the chilly stone floor. Okay, we're just getting some childhood trauma. We're building.
Yeah,
we know where this is headed.
PTSD is just fluttering.
Bro, I can feel it. I can feel it happening. Annalise, a gifted language student with great intelligence. Oh no, here we go. I'm gonna be honest. In my life, I've only ever known like 4 child prodigies where they're like wicked smartest kids. It never went well. It was too much pressure.
Yeah.
And they lost their damn minds.
Yep.
I'm sure there's ones out there that turned out good, but like we hear about the bad ones more. Yeah. Annalise, a gifted language student with great intelligence, started to develop neurosis connected to religious images. Her physical condition was likewise precarious. She had experienced several diseases in her childhood, which aggravated her psychological problems. And Annalise initially went black at 16, falling into a trance-like state at her school. She woke up later that evening feeling as though her body was heavy and discovered she had soaked the bed. These occurrences persisted, and she saw a doctor, but no physical cause could be discovered. Her diagnosis was at least grand mal epilepsy, marked by severe convulsions. Annalise started to have unsettling visions and hallucinations as her illness got worse. She heard voices telling her that she was condemned and ought to kill herself. Her mental state sank quickly, and she started to believe she was possessed by demons. Annalise's behavior becomes more unpredictable. She would destroy her knee ligaments by hundreds of movements in one day. She started also licking her own pee off the floor and barking like a dog. She was eating coal and insects. Annalise insisted that an exorcism was the only answer, even though her family tried to find further medical aid. Father Arnold Renz and Father Ernest Alt started on September 24th, 1975. Annalise went through about 70 sessions spread over 10 months, and the exorcisms were taxing. Annalise was frequently restrained in these sessions. The records taken during the rites caught horrific sounds, guttural growls, cries, and what the priests thought to be the voice of demons. At the suggestion of the priests, who thought her sufferings were spiritual rather than psychological, Annalise stopped taking her medication. As she grew famished and dehydrated, her situation got worse. Annalise weighed just 68 pounds and was extremely malnourished by the time of her death on July 1st, 1976. Annalise's deaths resulted in a well-reported trial, charging her parents and the 2 priests with negligent homicide. Supported by Annalise's own opinion that she was possessed, the defense claimed that her symptoms proved possession, but the prosecution blamed her death on epilepsy, psychiatric problems, and very religious surroundings that she grew up in. The defendants were found guilty at last, but they were given rather short terms served and probation. The case had broad ramifications, which caused the Catholic Church to change its exorcism procedures in 1999 and implement new policies requiring priests to complete medical training before an exorcism performance. Annalise's sad cause most certainly had a bearing on this shift, but it arrived too late to save her. Annalise Michael's life remains divisive even in her death. Her parents laid her in a part of the cemetery set out for persons who had self-canceled and illegitimate offspring. That's really sad.
Yep.
Following a nun's claim to have had a vision that Annalise's body was incorrupt, her body was exhumed in 1978 under the sign of possession. Her body had, however, naturally deteriorated and showed no indication of the supernatural. Her mother, Anna, stayed adamant in her conviction that the exorcism was required and that Annalise's death was a sacrifice made for the atonement of others. That is such a mix.
That could easily be mental health in that situation, and they just didn't know how to treat it because they were so religious and so stuck in their ways that this is a demon.
And you know what I think it is for the main part? I think it is a mix of like this childhood trauma, or like really religious bring up, which that's fine for a lot of people. What I think is she did have epilepsy, and a lot of the time when people have epilepsy, their brains get starved of oxygen. And I think that she just had like brain damage to the point that it like crazy affected her mental health. But like that is a crazy story. Crazy. Next up, we have number 3, The Exorcist, a movie that we just talked about and I think a lot of us love and scared the crap out of my mom. And did you know that in the 70s, there had never been such a scary movie in theaters that they had ambulances parked outside of the theater?
Crazy.
Yeah. Thought as one of the most horrific movies ever produced, The Exorcist transformed horror movies with its innovative ideas and horrific subject matter. The movie established a new benchmark in Hollywood for what a genuinely horrific film might be. Testament to its influence of the genre, it is still one of the few horror movies ever nominated for a Best Picture Academy Award. With 10 Oscar nominations overall, the movie proved even more firmly ingrained in film history. The horrific story centers on 12-year-old Regan, Linda Blair, who gets possessed by an ancient demon. William Peter Blatty's 1971 book, The Exorcist, is where the plot first arises. Real-life events occurring in 1949 motivated both the book and later the movie. The narrative revolves around a teenage lad called Roland Doe. Sorry.
Schitt's Creek?
Yes, he is thought to be possessed by an evil spirit. Maryland-based Roland Doe started having unusual and upsetting experiences at the age of 14. Reports state that he heard scratching sounds emanating from behind his bedroom walls. Driven by their son, the Doe's family contacted a clergyman, Reverend Luther Schultz, seeking assistance. Unable to justify the events, Reverend Schultz asked the parapsychology laboratory at Duke University for their help in March 1949. Schultz said in a letter how chairs seemed to move with Roland and even tossed him out occasionally. He also noted that a painting of Christ on the wall trembles when the lad approached it, and that Doe's bed would quake when he laid on it. Doe's family sought an exorcism from the Catholic Church after running out of choices, including a visit to Georgetown University Hospital. They thought the only way their son may be released from these terrible symptoms was through the age-old custom. In his hometown and in St. Louis, Missouri, Roland Doe suffered between 20 and 30 exorcisms, calling it perhaps one of the most remarkable experiences of its kind in recent religious history. A 1949 item in the Washington Post said that Doe had been freed by a Catholic priest of possession by the devil. Among the other claimed events during the exorcism were the words engraved into Doe's skin, his bed sliding across the floor, and frequent, often in Latin, a language that the lad had never studied. Still, the validity of these occurrences have been put into doubt despite the dramatic claims and later book and movie adaptations. Some say the tales were distorted and overdone. Picture reviewer Nat Selgolf voiced his doubts in the actual nature of the events in 2023, on the 50th anniversary of The Exorcist picture. Author of The Exorcist's Legacy, 50 Years of Fear, Selgoff pointed out that the occurrences in real life were significantly less spectacular than what the movie showed, obviously. He admitted that although there were some odd events, such as toppling chairs and shaking beds, there was no case of projectile vomiting, levitation, or head spinning as shown in the movie. Obviously.
Well, what do you expect?
Let us have our fun!
It's 2023. Don't be so silly.
This is a fun sucker. Segalov said that Ronald Doe, whose actual identity turned out to be Ronald Edwin.
Give us your top 5 corners.
All time.
I'm gonna go Reeves 1. I'm gonna go Dion 2. I'm gonna go Wilson 3.
Hunkler, might have created the phenomenon to get away from school and entertain himself by copying Latin prayers into a parody to make fun of the priest. Hunkler went back to a tranquil existence sheltered by the secrecy offered by the pseudonym following the exorcism. Later on, he worked for NASA as an engineer, helping launch important space missions, including Apollo 11 to the moon in 1969. This dude lived a life.
Yeah.
Hunkler's identity was a secret until his 85-year-old death in 2020. Though he had a great career, he apparently suffered from anxiety over the past coming to light. His friend claimed that Hunkler lived in continual anxiety about someone identifying him as the young man who inspired The Exorcist. She said he discounted the notion that he had been possessed, attributing his actions at the time to being a bad boy. So we have another admitting, I guess.
Yeah.
Many strange events during the filming of The Exorcist itself gave some conjecture to the movie that it was cursed. A fire started on set the day before production had started, forcing a 6-week delay as the set had to be reconstructed. Key actors in the movie, Linda Blair and Max von Sydow, also lost family members in the fast succession during the shooting. Other cast and crew members suffered injuries. Blair and Ella Burstyn, who played Reagan's mother, too suffered bodily injuries during the shooting. These odd events inspired filmmaker William Friedkin to summon a priest to bless the set. Later on, Friedkin thought back to the production and said, "We were plagued by strange and sinister things from the beginning." Simply said, "This is the toughest thing I've ever done in my life."
So, other than obviously bad things happening to those people's family members, which I'm very sorry about, was a lot of this just like a play on the news to like hype up the movie?
I don't know. I think that when you put a bunch of people in a room and you're filming something spooky and you're anticipating something spooky, you can create spooky things to happen. It's the law of attraction. If you think something bad's going to happen, something bad's probably going to happen.
Yeah, that's fair.
Next up, we have the first movie that ever scared me so bad.
You love this movie?
I love it. But it genuinely scares me. What do you think?
I always didn't watch scary movies when I was younger, so I mean, I don't really have a say in this.
It took until the last few years for you to actually watch them.
Didn't scare me when I watched it at this age. But
No, but like nowadays, like this is when you watch scary movies. You didn't even like scary movies when we started dating.
No, I didn't. Just never watched scary movies. I wasn't into them.
So we have number 4, The Poltergeist. Poltergeist, a 1982 supernatural horror film, is more than just simply a horrible work of art. It is a movie grounded in real-life events that still cause shivers down the spines of those who know about them. Designed by Tobe Hooper and Steven Spielberg, Poltergeist became a legendary entry into the horror subgenre, impacting other paranormal horror movies that came later. The real-life incidents that partially motivated the movie make the terrifying narrative of the Freeling family, whose daughter, Carol Ann, is kidnapped by evil spirits in their suburban house, even more disturbing. Poltergeist draws influence from the spooky events of the Herman house in Seaford, Long Island, New York. Even if it's not a direct replica of real events,
James Herman.
I just said German Herman.
Herman?
I just said German Herman.
You said German
My
Herman?
name's German Herman. James Herman got a call from his wife, Lucille, who was at home with their 2 teenage children, Jimmy and Lucy. Late evening on February 3rd, 1958, Lucille said she heard an odd popping noise emanating from several parts of the home. The family looked around and discovered numerous uncapped bottles tipped over in the room. Among the most disturbing revelations was a vial of holy water splashed across a bedroom dresser. I didn't even know that this was a real story.
Oh, really?
No. Herman, first dubious, mischievous youngsters he thought might have been the ones to break into the house and fool his relatives. He counseled them to remain cool and not get worked up over the odd events. 5 days later, though, the same unexplained behavior resurfaced once more. Then, again, the next day, Herman saw the bottles traveling on their own in the bathroom, as if time itself had an invisible force that was dragging them across the floor. Understanding the seriousness of things, he decided to phone the police.
So, we've seen that before, things sliding across the counter.
We have.
We need to pull that video
We
up.
need to find that video. It happened 2 times. It was one with the blender and then once with the butter dish.
We only got it on video once, though.
No, I have 2.
Oh, do you?
Do we have them?
I don't know. One of them's on video for sure. The butter thing.
The butter plate. That was terrifying. It was, in our house, it was definitely specific places. Officers who showed up at the Herman house also saw the strange phenomenon of bottles popping and traveling throughout the house. Although the authorities did many tests to rule out likely causes, such as radio transmissions or electrical disruptions, nothing odd was discovered. The bottles were not warm, and no rational justification would explain what was occurring. The mystery developed, and the cops were perplexed. Can you imagine, like, guys, there's nothing we can do here. It's a ghost. Call a priest. News of the unusual behavior at the Herman residence went fast and even found mention in Life magazine. Letters arrived from the people providing possible explanations, some based on reason, some based on logic, as well as other suggestions that the family was suffering poltergeist activity. The latter idea became popular, especially when Duke's University Parapsychology Laboratory had Dr. J.B. Rhine arrived. Given the poltergeist activity is generally associated with teenagers, and pause, not only is it with teenagers, it's women going through menopause, it's if something tragic happens in your life, it's any time that there's a peak in energy or a shift in the body is when poltergeists usually show up. Dr. Rhine thought the presence of the teenage Herman children would have drawn the poltergeist. To investigate the incidents, he had his associate pay a visit to the Herman house, interviewing the family and recording the unusual happenings. But just as curiosity had begun, the activity stopped as soon as the parapsychologist got there. Between February 3rd and March 10th, 1958, the Herman residence recorded about 70 odd events of activity overall. The Herman family chose to relocate despite the end of the disturbances, therefore leaving the mystery of their haunted house behind. Years later, Lucille's daughter showed up in a Chiller Network documentary called Real Fear: The Truth Behind the Movies. The documentary looked at actual occurrences that motivated horror movies like Poltergeist, therefore augmenting the eerie story of the Herman family. Poltergeist elevates the horror from the Herman's house's disturbing tale in its own way, adding corporeal apparitions, Native American burial sites, and body-chomping portals, and skeletons rising from swimming pools. The movie sensationalizes the incidents. The way the film portrayed a suburban family terrified by evil spirits captivated viewers all around and confirmed its position in horror movie history. Poltergeist's legacy, though, does not stop with its on-screen shocks. Additionally notorious for what many consider to be a curse on the movie, Dominique Dunne and Heather O'Rourke, among several cast members, experienced premature and sad ends that spurred allegations that the film was cursed. Did you know that?
Yeah, you've talked about that
Yeah,
before.
so Dominique Dunne, my boyfriend, and Heather O'Rourke died of a bowel obstruction just after filming the second one.
Crazy.
Furthermore, adding to the unsettling mythology around Poltergeist were accounts of unusual and inexplicable events on the movie set. I remember reading one time that the skeletons in the pool were real. Although we cannot prove that the presence of the curse and the narrative of the Herman family and their haunted house, it gives a terrible real-world link to the horrific occurrences Poltergeist describes. The movie is a timeless and powerful entry into the genre that haunts viewers decades after its debut, since real-life inspiration mixed with cinematic terror makes it so unique. Though the actual tale behind Poltergeist might not entail body-chomping gateways or skeletons rising from the dead, the horrific events that occurred in the Herman house remain sobering and a reminder that sometimes the truth is stranger and scarier than fiction.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't take much. Like, obviously we know horror movies are glorified. They have to make it fun. They have to make it interesting. They have to make it scary, creepy, more than it really is. But like in the real world, just these little tiny acts of this crazy stuff is just astonishing to people.
Bananas. Now we have one we've talked about a lot lately, and that is The Conjuring. When The Conjuring opened theaters in 2013, the film would soon raise great praise for its bone-chilling depiction of a Rhode Island family haunted by malevolent spirits. When I saw this movie, it was the first movie that had like genuinely scared the ever-loving shit out of me. Do you
You're
remember?
obsessed with this movie.
You wouldn't. I was. I don't. It literally scares me. You wouldn't watch it with me.
Wouldn't I?
Have you seen it since?
Yeah, I've seen it all now. I've seen every one of them. I'm not
strong.
like that anymore. I don't
He's got
care.
big scary balls now. Many spectators felt that it was simply another imaginary horror movie created by filmmaker James Wan's imaginative mind. But the horrific story behind The Conjuring is firmly based on actual occurrences, especially the experiences of Ed and Lorraine Warren, a couple committed to paranormal research during their lifetime. Children of World War II and former police officer Ed Warren developed as a self-taught demonologist, claiming to be a clairvoyant and medium his wife, Lorraine, so that she could interact with the ghosts Ed came across during their inquiries. The first ghost hunting club in New England, the Warrens established the New England Society for Psychic Research in 1952. The research of the notorious Amityville hauntings brought them recognition, but it was their work with the Perron family that would subsequently inspire the Conjuring series. The first movie in the series centers around the Perron family, which in January 1971 relocated into a 14-room farmhouse near Harrisville, Rhode Island. Carolyn, Roger, and their 5 girls started having odd and disturbing experiences almost right away after moving into the home. It began innocuously, with little instances like the broom moving on its own, or the sound of something scraping on the kitchen kettle, but the events quickened in intensity. Carolyn would discover tiny dirt mounds in the midst of the scrubbed kitchen floor, and the girls started to see ghostly forms all throughout the house. Though a handful, including one called Bathsheba, were anything but, most of these spirits were benign. According to the Perrons, investigations of the house had been owned by the same family for 8 generations. Many of its occupants met sad and enigmatic deaths. One family member had been killed, others had taken their lives in the attic. The children had drowned in a nearby creek. Believed to be the most evil spirit was that of Bathsheba Sherman, a real-life woman who resided on the land in the middle of the 1800s. The lights behind us just changed color, the blue ones.
Really?
I don't know, they just flipped.
Okay.
Though she never went on trial, Bathsheba was suspected of being implicated in the killing of a neighbor's child and allegedly a Satanist. Carolyn, who considered her a rival for the house's mistress, felt most passionately about her presence there. The parents asked the Warren for aid as the hauntings grew more severe. The Warrens visited the residence several times during the decade to look at the paranormal activity. Carolyn became possessed, speaking in tongues and levitating in her chair. During Lorraine's seance meant to contact the spirits, the eldest daughter, Andrea Perron, saw the seance and related the horrific experience of watching her mother speak in a voice not her own. That's scary. I remember one time my mom passed out, she growled, she's like, scariest thing, when your mom doesn't sound like your mom anymore.
Right.
Lorraine has maintained that neither she nor her husband ever carried out such rites as exorcisms. They must be carried out by Catholic priests. Even in the movie version, the event ends with an exorcism done by Ed Warren. Concerned about his wife's mental state, Roger Perron urged the Warrens to depart following the seance. The family lived in the house until 1980, when at last they could relocate. By the way, if you guys haven't seen it, I've never been to the Conjuring house. Sam and Colby have been to the Conjuring house so many times. I know they did Hell Week last week there. Should we go to the Conjuring house?
I don't know if this gets enough likes.
How many likes does this have to get for us to go to the Conjuring house?
50,000.
50,000. Get on it. We need more than that because I don't want to go.
100,000.
99,000.
Okay, 99,000.
Okay. The Warrens looked at other cases, though, that would create the Conjuring universe, including the Perron story. Another family, the Hodgsons, started having similar disruptions in Enfield, England, 6 years later after the family departed Harrisville. The Hodgsons family started seeing and hearing unusual things in their house in August 1977. Their daughter especially. Furniture started to move on its own. Stuff flew across the room, and spooky sounds filled the house. Out of a lot of the paranormal investigations they've done around the world, a lot of people were drawn to the Enfield haunting. They were dubious of the family's assertions. When the Warrens got there, though, they were sure of a demonic presence and that it was definitely active. Notwithstanding this, other researchers mostly discounted their evaluation. Some of them said that Ed Warren had sensationalized the case by embellishing the occurrences. There was no spectacular exorcism or last confrontation, unlike the films. Rather, the family was left to go on with their lives until the haunting inexplicably halted in 1979. Poltergeisty, if it just ends. With certain elements added for dramatic effect, the actual tales underlying the Conjuring series combine documented paranormal experiences with mythology. But the Perron and the Hodgsons family insisted that the horrific truth they experienced informs the events shown in the movies. Although the Warrens' techniques and findings are debatable, their reputation as trailblazing paranormal investigators never fails to enthrall viewers all around. I absolutely love the Conjuring movies. I'm the kind of person who absolutely loves when people put work and hardship and their heart into something, and I think that they just did something amazing for horror when they created those movies. But guys, that's all the time that we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell on your way out, and until later, stay spooky, Boo Crew. Mwah!
Bye.
Confirming the relevance of the story.
Relevance.
Relevance. Therefore, confirming the relevance. say the word. Relevance.
Like rel.
Relevance. Therefore, confirming.
The McDonald's snack wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch snack wrap. Spicy snack wrap. You broke the internet. For a snack. Snack wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Is your business struggling with siloed, unreliable customer data? You're not alone. Twilio Segment is purpose-built to collect, clean, and activate all your customer data. Say goodbye to data chaos. Our platform ensures you achieve a unified customer view so your teams can focus on innovation, not data headaches. Empower your marketing, product, and engineering efforts with truly dependable customer insights. Ready for data that drives real results? Visit segment.com today for a demo and get data you can depend on.
What's up, Boo Crew? Now, I want you to picture a room filled with objects, each one harboring a dark secret, a story of curses, spirits, and terror. This is Ed and Lorraine Warren's Occult Museum, where every item isn't just haunted, but a link to the unknown. My name is Selena Myers, and hey, welcome to the Haunted Estate. How you doing, Adam?
Pretty good. I don't want any links to the unknown, though.
We have links to the unknown in our house.
Yes, we do.
We have links to unknown. Links to the unknown right here.
Who's that?
I don't know. Don't want to talk about it. I'm sure we're about to hear about her.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into it. Hidden in Monroe, Connecticut is a museum unlike any other. Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators, collected haunted artifacts over their decades of work. These objects, from cursed dolls to sinister relics, carry stories that are as frightening as they are real. And first up, we have Annabelle herself. Beginning with Annabelle, 2014, followed by Annabelle the Creation, 2017, these are movies. Annabelle was well known long before she graced the big screen in The Conjuring and later featured in her own horror trilogy. The well-known paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren have spun an unsettling story about Annabelle. They said that an evil spirit possessed the apparently innocent Raggedy Ann doll, given to a nurse by her mother. The Warrens claim that the doll was more than just a toy. It could perform terrible deeds, including writing threatening notes and perhaps physically hurting the nurse and her roommate. Both, 25 years old, Laura Clifton and Deidre Bernard, shared an apartment. Deidre had just gotten the Raggedy Ann doll from her mother on her 24th birthday. Laura was engaged to a man called Cal Randall. Okay, pause. I am here to tell you how you can be a part of the most incredible slot tournament ever, where the winner takes home $1 million in cash. It is happening this October 24th to 27th at Atlantis Paradise Island in the Bahamas. And I'm going to tell you how you can score a VIP invitation to this incredible event. I know some of this YouTube video is going to sound pretty unreal, but you know what is real? The fact that you could have a chance to win a trip to the Bahamas and win $1 million. All you need to do is download and play Pop Slots for a chance to win a trip for you and a guest to the Bahamas and a seat at the My VIP World Tournament of Slots. There are opportunities to win happening all summer long. Just download and play Pop Slots or any of the other award-winning My VIP casino apps and see if you have what it takes to win. This insane event is going to bring together slot enthusiasts from the digital world and the real world who are going to compete for a top cash prize of $1 million. Woo, 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 woo! I want the money. Pop Slots Vegas casino games allow you to play free Vegas games anytime and anywhere and get your hands on the hottest slot machines around. In this social casino slots game, you can visit virtual versions of the most iconic Las Vegas strip resorts, the Bellagio, the Luxor, the MGM Grand, and more. Your Las Vegas experience is just a touch away with Pop Slots. So guys, download Pop Slots and you can win a trip to the Bahamas and a seat in the $1 million tournament hosted by Atlantis Paradise Island this October 24th to 27th. Play your favorite slots, and next time you spin, you could be heading to the Bahamas to compete for $1 million. So make sure you hit the link in my bio and join today. And now let's get back to the show. The doll was remarkably big, almost the same size as a 4-year-old toddler. Not long after Deidre brought the doll into the house, the women started to observe odd events. The doll was often reappearing in various postures, even in different rooms where they hadn't left it. The doll appeared to be moving on its own. They left the doll on Deidre's bed one day and returned to discover it kneeling in the living room. The girls tried to make the doll kneel as they had discovered it, but each effort resulted in the doll toppling over. It just couldn't balance on its own.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
That's an out the window.
Yep.
Bye!
Like, this kind of paranormal problem in your home freaks me out way more than like a cupboard opening or something moving on the table.
Paranormal items are scary.
Items, dolls in general.
We have our own doll story.
Freaky.
Remember that doll we tried to get rid of?
Yeah.
I had bought a very scary tourist doll. Like, it was really cool looking. It came from the Barbados or something. It was from the 70s. I bought it. I kept it in this drawer, but every time I opened this drawer, I felt weird. Then I started dreaming about the doll, right? And then I started having really dark dreams. First, she came to me and she was so nice and considerate, and I thought this was like a beautiful spirit of like a woman who wanted to help me and be kind, whatever. No, I started having nightmares about the doll, where the doll was a woman and she was beating me and she was trying to hurt me. So we tried to get rid of this doll. So I went, I like doing salt baths on things. I don't know why we didn't bury it. I think it was because we lived in the town or something. But we took it out to try and put it in this like conservation area. Weird noises everywhere, left. Ended up putting it in a garbage can at a baseball diamond and pouring salt on it.
Funny thing about that, the conservation area we were at
Yeah.
is the one just down the road from us now.
Yeah, we literally live near it.
Yeah.
Weird.
Thank gosh it's not there.
Thank God it's not there. The girls soon began finding messages throughout the apartment, as if the doll's activities weren't already terrifying. Written in pencil on bits of paper, these notes had frightening words like, "Help Cal," and "Help us." Not only did the women not know the significance behind the messages, Laura's boyfriend Cal wasn't in any apparent danger, but they also couldn't discover a pencil in their apartment that could have been used to write the letters. Laura and Deidre first thought someone might be pulling a sophisticated hoax on them. To find out whether somebody was visiting their flat while they were away, they arranged markers and traps, but there was never any proof of an intruder. Rather, the events connected to Annabelle got even more unsettling. They thought the doll had given them a piece of chocolate as a Christmas gift one day. Another day, they found droplets of blood on it. Seeking solutions, the girls turned to a medium. The medium that they spoke to... You know what, before we even get into this, I had a conversation the other day because I met with a psychic, the lovely Valerie Boyce. I'm going to be very honest. I have been to so many mediums and so many psychics, and I feel like if you have 50 psychics in a room, 5 of them are real psychics at this point.
Like a good 1 to 10 ratio?
It's a 1 to 10 ratio at this point. I really think so. There's a lot of people, they're
there's
intuitive.
a lot of money to be made with something that you can somewhat fake.
And I think that, a lot of them are very intuitive. One time I went to the psychic fair, everyone's like, yes, this psychic, she had so much marketing. Hadn't heard from anyone, but she had so much marketing. They had people's accounts on the wall and stuff. I'm like, I'm going to her. And I sat there, and I have never been read so wrong in my entire life. She said, in 4 years, I would marry a small Mexican man, but I am married to a large Dutchman. But she went on to say some other things that were so off. It was weird. She said, I was married a small Mexican man. I would have 3 different children by 3 different men. And I would never make more than minimum wage.
And we're not saying she's not legit.
But
Sometimes you just can't get a reading from somebody.
And
it doesn't work great every time for everybody.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what. I was with 2 people that day who all got a reading from this woman. And we all sat in the car and we're like, what was that?
So this is a skeptical situation.
Yeah, and she went into it she's like, no. And I'm like, no, I'm married. She's like, no, you're going to marry a small Mexican man in 4 years. And I was like,
okay,
damn.
Let's get on it.
It's been a good 8 since then, so we're good. The medium they spoke with informed them that the property where their apartment presently stood held the spirit of a small child named Annabelle Higgins. Since the nurses were the only young people in the structure, the ghost was supposed to have taken a liking to them. The psychic says that the spirit started playing with them by moving the doll about. Said to be lonely and searching for love, the small girl's spirit asked the nurses if she could live with them by asking to inhabit the doll. The females agreed, wanting to be helpful. Later on, the Warrens said that this was a serious error. They maintained that the inexperience of the medium handling evil spirits had unintentionally put the nurses at risk. There's a big thing that goes with this. I understand, you feel a motherly thing. You hear this dead child, you want to give this dead child a place to live. But the truth is, when it comes to demons and stuff, they will play a cute little person to try and get into your life. Where the truth is, we never really know what we're talking to. A lot of the time you'll see in movies, people think that they're talking to dead relatives or dead family, but that's not it at all. It's something else. And that's when you really have to investigate. And again, a lot of people don't know what they're doing, so sometimes just leaving those things alone is cool. Here's my suggestion. You want to ghost hunt. You want to do something. Don't do it in your house. Do it in a structure. Do it in an abandoned building. Still do it in your own house, okay? So at the end of this, the girls had unwittingly let a demonic entity into their lives by inviting the ghost to occupy the Annabelle doll. The Warrens claimed that the building never housed Annabelle Higgins. No spirit of a small child ever existed here. Rather, the nurses came upon a cruel spirit, a demonic power. The doll seemed to get stronger as her actions got more vigorous. Cal, Laura's fiance, started having intense dreams where Annabelle attacked him. One especially terrible night, Laura and Cal were left alone in the apartment, and they heard sounds from Deidre's room. Cal heard and went to look and discovered Annabelle. Something sliced his chest as he moved away from the doll, soaking his shirt with blood and leaving 7 claw scars. The Warrens sought a priest to do an exorcism on the apartment, as well on Deidre, Laura, and Cal, since the situation had gotten so severe. Annabelle was taken to the Warrens following the exorcism, locked within a glass exhibit in their occultist museum. For years, inquisitive guests would highlight this case as the main focus. Ed and Lorraine Warren have passed away now, and their daughter and son-in-law now own the Annabelle doll and keep her tightly under control. Next up, we have the Perron family music box. First seen in the original movie, the music box is among the most mysterious, deadly relics in the Conjuring universe. Lorraine Warren noticed this apparently benign object during her research at the Perron family house, where a demonic presence plagued the family. Playing the music box, Lorraine saw, to her horror, the mirror reflecting a small child, verifying that evil spirits were prowling the cursed house. Pause. So you see a child in a mirror. You immediately think that's a demon.
Right?
Had any demon anything? I guess she was called to the house for dark things happening, but just because you see a child doesn't mean it's a demon, okay? Even though I said a lot of the time they come out as a kid, if you don't know, you don't know, right? We gotta look deeper here. One of the Conjuring movies explores the sinister and terrible abilities of the music box more closely. Created by Ray Fox, Christopher Mitten, Brendan Wagner, and Becca Carey, the backup narrative, Tales from the Artifact Room, The Sleeping Song, blurs the border between dreams and reality. The story revolves around Nicole, a young pianist still in mourning over the death of her infant child.
What'd you say?
Pianist.
What did you say?
Pianist. Oh my god. I hope there's no 69s in this. Nicole reveals that her baby often sobbed excessively and that she would often play the piano to help her relax from her great loss. Her connection with her husband, who comes home one day to discover Nicole missed rehearsal and aggravates her loss. Angry and worried, he charges her with becoming drunk and implies that her fixation on the music box has distorted her thinking. Nicole, on the other hand, thinks that her husband killed their child since he strangled the infant out of annoyance over the ongoing sobbing. Nicole is unaware that the ghostly apparition from the ages before reflected in the music box has been influencing her all along. The lad has driven her to the verge of crazy and warped her view of reality and twisted her hallucinations, fueled by the conviction that she is exacting revenge for the murder of her child. Nicole grabs a knife and stabs her husband in a flash of wrath. She thinks that she is giving justice, but she's not aware that the lad has implanted these horrible thoughts into her head. Nicole sits down with the music box following the horrific deed.
Melancholic.
Totally enthralled by its tune. Ignorant I'm not saying it. Ignorant of the blood-soaked sight around her, the music box plays as she seeks comfort in the memories of her child. According to the narrative, the music box draws strength from the sorrow and the loss that it causes. The narrative raises questions about Nicole's baby's death, natural causes, or if the boy's influence drove her to kill the infant herself. Unquestionably, the wicked ghost has its power since it had previously plagued the Perron household's children. Ed Warren had the music box locked away in his artifact room, along with other cursed items, because he knew of its dark energies. Although the music box was not a big factor in the later movies, the story implies that its corrupting effect may have been far more important. If not for Bathsheba and the evil ghost haunting the parent family, the music box may have caused considerably more damage, maybe motivating Roger or Carolyn to carry out terrible deeds. Now next up, one we've all seen, the demonic toy monkey. Within the Warrens' vast collection of supernatural relics is the accordion-playing monkey. I literally have the symbol monkey here. La 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 la. I have no idea where this came from.
No idea.
No idea at all. This monkey is among some of the most recognizable and disturbing objects in the Conjuring universe. Often seen in the backdrop of their haunted museum, this creepy antique has enthralled visitors with its quiet, threatening presence. The pages of DC Horrors, The Conjuring, The Lover #3, just reveals the sources of this unsettling thing at last. I get it, it's a comic book. Okay, now it makes sense. What was that? The narrative explores the sad and ominous past of the monkey, exposing a narrative full of pain and terror that exactly fits the gloomy tone of the Conjuring series. Tim Seeley's The Conjuring, The Lover #3 carries readers back to 1930, with its colors by Jordi Belair and the artwork by Kelly Jones. It presents the unfortunate Root family, an unidentified doctor and his nurse Maureen. The doctor starts the narrative by watching Maureen's quick plunge into what he considers to be lunacy. Following the birth of Joey, the newborn child of the Root family, Maureen believes that Joey is an evil spirit rather than a typical infant. Her worries are heightened when the other newborns in the hospital start to show odd marks, which she reads as evidence of something sinister at work. Maureen's worries are dismissed by the doctor, who also believes her to be mentally unwell and assigns the scratches to rodents, therefore guiding Maureen to an asylum. The doctor gives the Root family an accordion-playing monkey in an effort to provide sort of normalcy and helps ease the anguish around Joey's birth. His goal is for the monkey to be a happy diversion, something the family might look back on with nostalgia despite the trying conditions. Far from
Step into Hojo, where the whole family is welcome, where the rooms are vibrant and modern. Free Wi-Fi keeps everyone connected. And where it's all smiles, all the time. Howard Johnson, a trusted brand by Wyndham.
comfort, the monkey soon starts to show itself as a forerunner of disaster. The monkey's music plays a sinister soundtrack to the Roots family's sorrow every time disaster strikes. The whole misery of the narrative becomes clear when one realizes that the monkey is an active cause rather than just a spectator of these happenings. The first big occurrence starts when the doctor dies in a tragical vehicle accident on his way to see the Root family. The monkey is there when the catastrophe happens. Its haunting tune suggests that it planned the incident. The comic deftly raises suspense by implying approaching catastrophe from the presence of the monkey. The pattern is often evident with every single next tragedy. The monkey's song plays, and something horrible follows. So it must do it on its own. Spooky.
Yeah.
The narrative vividly captures all the evil impact on the accordion monkey, from a basic toy into a symbol of certain horror. The way the monkey's happy facade contrasts with the horror causes to make the story much more terrifying. Once content and hopeful, the curse that the monkey brings into their life gradually ruins the Root family. Unable to flee from the monkey's cursed music, the apparently benign gift becomes a nightmare for the family, and they find themselves caught in a cycle of death and suffering. The comic emphasizes the absolute risk of the accordion-playing monkey, like do the way. Even though we find this to the Warrens' artifact room, Jocko is among some of the most horrible artifacts in the Warrens collection, since he can bring devastation and anarchy with just a basic tune. The notion that such a little simple object could have such an influence adds to the mystery and the horror. The narrative makes readers uncomfortable to realize that this unfathomable evil can hide in the most benign-looking objects. Next up, we have the Pearls of Death. In the realm of The Conjuring, the spine-chilling tales develop around a lot of cursed things. Among these ghostly artifacts are the Pearls of Death. They stand out among the most hazardous and haunted objects in the Warrens' occult collection. Although these pearls have not yet made their appearance in the Conjuring film universe, the terror legacy is well documented in the actual world. Those who dare to wear these cursed pearls are supposed to be strangled in a way that transcends a basic case of too tight necklace, therefore rendering their victims dead. Though the idea of cursed goods is not novel, the pearls of death present a particularly horrific illustration. Tony Spurra, the son-in-law of the Warrens, said that these pearls were added to the museum following a woman's allegation that they had tried to strangle her. According to the legend, the pearls around the unhappy woman's neck started to tighten with a life of its own. It was not only a little annoyance or a tight fit, not like she was gaining weight. The pearls reportedly strangled her so severely that she required others to physically rip them off her to save her life. This was something considerably more frightening than just badly sized jewelry.
Okay, this is freakier than the dolls.
Yeah.
I take that back about the dolls. Wearing something around your neck that's haunted and not knowing it, definitely my new fear.
Spooky. Dreams of a piece of jewelry turning on its wearer are the stuff of horror. Imagine slipping on a lovely set of pearls to discover you are struggling to breathe as they constrict around your neck. The pearls of death are among the most perilous objects in the Warrens' collection since the woman went through this horrific reality. Although it's a comfort knowing that now these pearls just lie on museum shelves instead of around someone's neck, their existence nonetheless reminds us of the evil powers that might affix themselves to something that we use every day. Though they haven't shown up in the Conjuring movies yet, the Pearls of Death would suit the universe as a story of cursed and haunted objects rather readily. It would be a cool movie.
Yeah.
Already, the movies have looked at several cursed objects, each with a sinister impact and a terrible tale. From the Annabelle doll to the music box to the accordion monkey, these objects actively participate in the atrocities that take place, rather than only inert objects. With their history of strangling, the Pearls of Death would be a fitting addition to this collection of evil relics, adding still more layers of fear to the already vast Conjuring universe. Next up, we have the werewolf paws. A terrifying scene in Annabelle Comes Home exposes yet another frightening thing in the Warrens' artifact room. A werewolf claw. Oh god, I hope werewolves are real. Man.
Where the hell have you been, Loca?
Though it seems like just another eerie relic, this claw is a homage to one of the most strange and horrific cases the Warrens ever came across. The London 1980 werewolf case. Not only is this real account of demonic possession unique, but also its startling ramifications. This one included a man said to be possessed by the spirit of a werewolf, which set off horrific outbursts of violence and wrath. The narrative revolves around Bill Ramsey, a man whose horrific actions gained him notoriety in his neighborhood. Sometimes with the force of a guy twice his weight, Ramsey's unusual episodes would consist of blacking out and waking up to discover he had attacked people around him, showing remarkably similar actions to those of a wolf.
So it was like a guy with sundowners, like, almost. It was like a sundowner slash...
I don't know, man. Something weird going on at night. There's a weird chemistry thing that happens in the brain when it gets dark, so maybe he was just not set up right. He would run about on all fours and use his fingers like claws. These events set off local alarm and attracted police attention as they tried to explain how an average man could suddenly display such remarkable and horrible behavior.
This is the first account on record of furries. He was the original furry.
He was the original furry in the 1800s.
Yeah. And also a psycho.
Yeah, and a psycho. Ramsey's narrative traveled to the Warrens, who were always on the search for cases involving the supernatural. As the frequency and intensity of the events increased, especially Lorraine Warren, connected strongly to Ramsey's case, Ed and Lorraine Warren went to London to see if he was under the control of a wicked ghost or demon. The Warrens had decided that Ramsey's wild outbursts were caused by the evil spirit of a wolf or demon, and they needed a fledged exorcism to release him. Reportedly, the exorcism was successful and happened on American territory. No more tormented by the wolf-like behavior that had haunted him for years, Bill Ramsey was able to go home. Although he never physically changed into a werewolf, his behavior during his episodes was sufficient to persuade those who saw it as something well beyond the norm of a person's actions. The Warrens' participation in the case enhanced their reputation as paranormal investigators, handling the most unusual and threatening facets of the supernatural. Okay, guys, now this is a funny one. We're going to talk about a haunted brick, all right? So apparently one of the most spooky objects kept in the Warren Occult Museums is a basic brick. But But its roots are at Borley Rectory, one of the most haunted sites in England. Okay, that's cool. Designed as a dwelling for Borley's rector in 1862, this house was not a typical construction job. It became well known over the years for being a hub of paranormal activity, among the most horrible haunted homes in the United Kingdom. Damn. Wow. When a fire tore through the Borley Rectory in 1939, the structure was left in ruins. The remnants were totally destroyed by 1944, but not before the place attracted attention of paranormal research. Renowned paranormal researcher HAII Price was among the most famous people to investigate the strange events at Borley Rectory. His studies not only served to heighten the terrible reputation of the mansion, since he documented several paranormal experiences, including sightings of a ghostly nun, a phantom car passing by, and the eerie sounds of horse-drawn carriages on the grounds. Local legends hold that a sad love story is the source of the ghostly nun stalking the premises. The story goes of a nun who developed feelings for a monk from a nearby convent. Their forbidden love caused them to try an elopement, but they were soon found. The monk was taken to the gallows as punishment, and the nun met an even more terrible destiny. She was locked alive inside the nunnery walls. Her restless soul thought to always be prowling Borley Rectory in quest of the monk she once loved. Although the narrative is sad, it gives the frightening incidents claimed at the rectory a moving layer. When the then owners, Guy Eric Smith and his wife, reported unusual and inexplicable incidents in 1928, the earliest known accounts of ghostly activity at Borley Rectory arose. Troubled by the events, they got in touch with a nearby newspaper, which dispatched HAII Price to look at it further. Spending a year at Borley Rectory, Price recorded a great spectrum of poltergeist events. Among these were unexplained knockings, objects moving on their own, and eerie experiences with the dead former occupant, Reverend Harry Bull, who had died in the house. The Smiths left the residence since the mysterious activity continued, even with their efforts to clean the premises. The next residents of Borley Rectory, Reverend Lionel Foster and his wife Marianne, too, became victims of the strange events. Still, the poltergeist behavior during their visit was far more forceful. Their experience at Borley Rectory was even more horrific, with the reports of broken windows, shattered glass, and physical assaults on Marianne, who was supposedly thrown from her bed in the middle of the night.
Oh, God.
Hell to the no! Finally destroyed by a fire allegedly started by an oil lamp in 1939, the house, though its notoriety as one of the most haunted homes in the United Kingdom, continues. The property was left in ruins until its demolition in 1944. Now housed at the Warren Occult Museum, the brick provides a physical link to a site where terrible events and strong paranormal activity were reported. Nice. All right. Next up, we have the Black Magic Dolls. Annabelle usually is the one to take the stage in the front when it comes to haunted dolls. Yep. But she is not the only one hiding in the shadows. Hey, girl. Many more dolls in the Warren Occult Museum also merit equally terrifying attention. Tony Spera claims that many of these dolls have evil abilities, derived from sinister practices of voodoo and dark magic. These are not your run-of-the-mill, ordinary, eerie dolls. Each has an unsettling past and is thought to really